Incoming transmission. Incoming transmission. Incoming transmission.
What is it, Captain?
It's a transmission from the asteroid. Something's going on.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to another Rimworld Odyssey adventure. At the end of the last episode, we landed at the Mechanoid relay, and today we're hoping to take it down, as well as its multiple stabilizer nodes, in the hope of yielding yet another grav core, and also taking out the Mechanoid's communication at the same time, which would be handy. As you can see from this episode's intro, the Mechanoids have found our asteroid base. I didn't realise they would land down. I thought the scenario where they're tracking the grav ship would have them follow us. I didn't realise they'd attack any settlements that we leave behind. But apparently they ended up dropping in. I was really keen to build a sweet asteroid base and use some of these space-based furniture, but apparently that'll have to wait for now. We'll start decorating the ship with that lovely furniture instead, since I really want to show it off in this series. More to the point though, I'm not sure how viable the asteroid base is at this point, especially if Mechanoids are going to keep landing on it. It's going to be really annoying and potentially slow the game down, which I don't really want. All this to say, I may abandon it sometime this episode. I'll let you guys know if that is the case. I'm disappointed. I was really keen to set up some cool stuff there, and we basically wasted the last episode if we do end up having to abandon it. But oh well. Back into business. The business of clearing their relay stabilizers so we can take the relay down itself. With the Militor taken out on the first stabilizer, the group would move on, while Herman gets into hacking. Ulysses would stop over for a quick inspection of the relay itself. This is certainly where the grav core is. He can feel it. With yet another mech down, making quick work of the Scyther, Sam is preparing to jump onto the second stabilizer to get this one hacked as well. Our forces would move up north to the final of the three, as she puts that big head of hers to work. They would meet up with Ulysses, who along with Ratchet would charge head-on at the sleeping pikeman, quickly vanquishing it, allowing us to capture this stabilizer node. Bit of a mistake it seems, as we've managed to trigger some sort of defense system, which has sent a small battalion of Mechanoids to our location. Our fawns would stick together as the mechs emerged, trying not to get split up, as there's safety in numbers. Honestly, this defense system, quote-unquote, was overrated. We finished these guys off with little effort, and little damage done to our colonists. I think Ratchet was the only one who went down, but she'll get patched up quickly and be back chopping up mechs soon enough. At some point as we were regrouping after the defense system's attacks, a power conduit arced and caught fire to the chem fuel in our crafting room. Thinking quickly, we opened up the side of Yuri's legacy and managed to put it out. We'll need to be more careful where we're putting our wiring in the future. The next day, Herman was back at it, hacking the stabilizers, which had both locked him and Sam out the day prior. He was making quick work of these two due to his 14 hacking skill. With him around, it's almost like we have a member of Anonymous working with us. While we're waiting for him to finish up, Ulysses and Jenkins would break into the Ancient Danger. Not that dangerous if you ask me. That Lancer really never stood a chance. I did consider arresting one of these Ancients known as Blitz, because he had some nice skills, but I would have felt bad separating him from his buddies. Oh well, these 4 advanced components from the Hermetic Crate will have to do as compensation. We would finish up just in time too, as Herman has deactivated the last stabilizer. I'm surprised these didn't have better defense. This was way easier than it should have been. I think this may have been considered one of the easier GravCore missions in hindsight. Anyways, it looks like the Mechanoid relay is destabilizing. Here we go. Almost there. What's gonna happen? Oh, a mad boomalope attack. That's what happened. Me watching the relay crash was interrupted by this stupid creature. I'm quite glad Jenkins put it down quickly, as I could see the smoke rising from the relay after it had crumbled. Turns out there was another layer of defense, as destroying the relay has triggered yet another wave of metallic foes. Oh well, a bunch of Scyther has nothing on Jenkins' EMP rounds. He could kill 1,000 Mechanoids. No, make that 10,000 Mechanoids. Maybe even more than that, with this thing. I have to say that maybe one of the coolest pieces of loot that I've ever found. I love the special weapons added in this update. They really work so well in Rimworld. Anyway, this was once again a little underwhelming. Having run and gun with a bunch of Scyther is always pretty easy. Or maybe I spoke too soon. Cassandra must have heard me because the filth crew have shown up with their ugly faces once again. We would move away from the grav ship out to a small rocky outcropping where we have some cover and can leverage our ranged weapons to our advantage. This worked out an absolute treat. One of the wasters and their feeble tox grenades would get bullets between the eyes. I've heard of bringing a knife to a gunfight, but I think tox grenades might be even worse, especially when you barely throw them anywhere near us. It doesn't really work. With the enemies on the back foot, we could pick off the last. Wrong way, my friend. You're supposed to jump away from us. Oh well, more food for the vultures, I guess. When will these guys learn that they're never taking our grav ship? The next morning, Ulysses would head out to smash apart the wreckage of the relay. It's poetic. The same part of the Mechanoids used to try to take hold of our planet will become the very thing empowering and enabling us to defeat them. We are getting closer, my friends. We can make some serious improvements with this gear. After completing our mission here, we have 2 more sites with grav cores still available for our capture. Then we'll search for whoever, or whatever, is controlling the rampaging robots. But in order to achieve our goal, we will need the right technology. So we'll probably stop off here for a few days while we work on a few projects. A few that we'd finished that were of particular interest were hospital beds, transport pods, and some more weapons research, including precision rifling. We would begin to work on the multi-analyzer so we can unlock fabrication and begin looking into better armor, weapons, and upgrades to our pawns that will equip them for combat against the Mechanoids. During this time, Ratchet was also hard at work in her workshop, constructing a prosthetic arm for Boy, since Ulysses lopped his off when we first encountered him. Ulysses felt a great joy restoring Boy's arm in his surgery. Well, not quite restoring it, it's only a prosthetic, so it's only got about 50% part efficiency. But since they're actually very good friends now, I'm sure they were both quite happy with the outcome. We also completely fitted out the ship with the space-based furniture. Everything is so nicely textured in this mod, from the beds to the desks. I also love the decorations, the little plants people have in their rooms, and even the chairs and tables. They have such a cool space age aesthetic, and I like that it doesn't feel too minimalistic as well, which I think is a problem with new age modern decor. It just feels too sterile sometimes. I will definitely be using these decorations in future playthroughs if we have another space-themed playthrough. And now, as we finish loading everything onto the ship, our small team stands proud of all we've accomplished so far. For now, it's back into space once again. With Ulysses to guide us, and the friends that we have here to help us, there is indeed nothing that we can't do on this mission. Ulysses would take up the captain's mantle once again, as we now head up to another debris field in search of loot to aid us in our adventure. And here we are, once again high above the planet. But we are not alone. Scavengers roam these platforms searching for valuable loot of their own. Not sure how they got up here, maybe they were dropped off and whoever left them here is coming back. I don't know, either way, we will need to go through them to get what we came here for. We would begin moving into position trying to find spots that would give us an advantage against their ranged weapons, although they had spotted us by now and were coming straight at us. Thankfully, Herman had spotted them and let everyone know to find a good position inside the crumbling structure. The close-range combat worked heavily to our advantage here as we could get off way more shots than their rifles could. while those that were foolish enough to try melee combat with us quickly fell to Ulysses, who charged at them. When it was all said and done, and the last scavenger was defeated, Ulysses would take a few moments to look over the planet, remembering why he was doing this. Our deep thoughts and contemplation would quickly turn back to action, as we had far from come out of that fight unscathed. Thankfully, the captain is here to patch the crew back up. The next day, Herman would set out, beginning to loot wreckage of what was most likely a space station back in the day. We wouldn't really find all that much, to be honest. A few hermetic crates with some decent loot, but no spectacular items. We would also find a number of components and steel crates that we'll be sure to check out and bring the contents along. In only a couple days, we'd explored the entirety of the wreckage, and decided it was now time to head off. But as we wait for the engines to cool down, the love between Jenkins and Sam continues to heat up. Or, as a normal person would say, they're getting married. I had to lock the door as our little band of freaks kept trying to re-equip helmets, even though they're in a room with plenty of oxygen. It was about as nice a ceremony as you can have in the mess room of a grav ship, especially one that already has blood on the floor. They both still seemed pretty happy, spending plenty of time partying with their friends after the ceremony was complete. And as the celebrations draw to a close, we decided it's time for us to get out of here, setting off for yet another orbital platform. I'm just realizing it's been a while since we've actually had a bad landing. Maybe everybody's getting nostalgia for all the times we had grav sickness earlier in the series. We've landed down on what looks to be a much more put together orbital platform. Let's hope that there aren't too many enemies here that we need to kill. And it looks like the Empire has been here at some point as well. Could still be by the looks of that shuttle. Now look, I'm not going to bother doing a play-by-play for this orbital platform as it is pretty similar to the ones that we've already been on. Instead, I'm going to give you the quick highlights. Jenkins, as he was exploring, would end up getting into a standoff with 4 or 5 of the security drones. I think this was about half the security force that they had guarding this station, but Jenkins being Jenkins would end up shutting down all of these robots, expending plenty of EMP rounds in the process. And during some of the combat with the sentries that Jenkins didn't get to, Ulysses would hit 15 melee, which would grant him the striking expertise, allowing him now to hit with much more accuracy. We would also loot a little Glitterworld medicine and open some of the ancient crypto sleep caskets before blasting the sleeping soldiers into oblivion as soon as they had woken up. As I said, this one was pretty similar to the previous orbital platforms that we've been on, so I'm not going to stick around any longer. We're now taking back off in the hopes of heading back planetside and collecting some more resources that we can use in looking for more grav cores. We landed down in an abandoned quarry that is supposedly rich in plasteel. There was a fair bit of ancient mining equipment littered around the opening and the caverns here. It seems this place hasn't seen humans for quite some time though. The only catch to what is otherwise a very great place for restocking our resources is that it is infested with bugs, which just won't do. So pretty much as soon as we landed, we were off hunting. We would utilize some of these ancient mining charges that had been left here by exploding some of the bugs when they walked a little too close to them. Of course, getting bug guts everywhere is pretty disgusting, but we're here for business, not pleasure. We'll just have to put up with it for now. After a day or so, most of the bugs in the immediate area were cleared out, and it seems that while we've been occupied with extermination, Herman has completed our work into the multi-analyzer. He would quickly get to constructing the device which will massively enhance our computing power, allowing us to look into research projects such as fabrication, which we would get started on straight away. We can also look into some of the more advanced grav tech with this research complete, which I'm sure we'll be investigating in the very near future. But back to the real reason that we're here. a massive strip mining operation to search for deposits of plasteel. We will be slowed for a week or so due to the large plume of poisonous toxic gas that is settling in the atmosphere around us. Thankfully, the vac suits are airtight and will prevent us from breathing it in, but we might not be able to see quite as well in all of this haze. In the meantime, we'd accept a quest named Red Hulk, which involves a sanguiphage and 5 of their thralls crash landing in a shuttle at our location. We thought, if nothing else, they may have some good gear that we could pull off of their corpses. And I must say, in all of my time playing Rimworld, I've never seen a sanguiphage wearing a baseball cap. It's not the style choice that I would go for, but anywho, the fight would commence very shortly after they'd emerged from their shuttle. Ulysses had quickly engaged and killed the first thrall, caving his torso in with a swift smash from the Zeus hammer, before moving on and quickly downing the sanguiphage herself. The fight was over about as soon as it began. The thralls that were still alive were retreating, and Ulysses was planning to chase them, but realized because of the toxic smog and all the bugs out there that they won't make it far anyway. We would of course capture our new sanguiphage friend known as Diver, who is actually a dirt mole sanguiphage, as of course the sanguiphage gene is a xenotype, while the dirt mole is part of the germline genes which have come from her parents. And I must say, she is a crazy good character, with some really great melee, social, and mining stats, as well as the potential with construction, plants, and she's a really good shot as well. We managed to convert her over pretty quickly due to her volatile trait, but I then realized that she has a massive 78 resistance, which means she'll be in our makeshift prison room for a little while. Ah well, we can keep ourselves occupied with some base building while her resistance is slowly broken down in the background. The base building, of course, as you can see, is another expansion to the Grav ship, where we would build out these little wing-like nodes on the sides of the back end of the ship. As I've mentioned in previous episodes, this sort of building is a lot different to regular Rimworld, as I kind of had to redesign everything for each expansion, which is a little annoying, but also pretty cool. The best way to do it, as you can see in the southern section here, is to deconstruct everything that isn't needed and just start from scratch. We would build a couple new workshops. The one on the right will double as a storage room. He might also chuck a couple of batteries in there, while the bedroom that you can see that's being constructed here is going to be for Diver when she decides to join us. And why give her such a big bedroom though, you might ask? Well, obviously because we've been researching Death Rest in the background, which is now complete, allowing us to build a Death Rest casket and accelerator, which I'm sure she'll be making use of in no time. We would then bring her into her new room, and it's certainly nicer than sleeping next to the multi-analyzer, and hopefully this will give her a better mood, helping us recruit her. Moving on, the other new section will include a new kitchen area, relocated freezer, and a new room for Hamilton. But I'm still deciding what to do with this room in the far right. Could be a nice big bedroom for our new lovers, Boy and Ratchet, who I'm hoping at the end of the series might give us a Imped Starjack baby, which would be a strange combination for sure. Or maybe we won't use this for a bedroom after all. We could instead use it for a fabrication bench, which we're now able to construct, and we'll need very shortly so we can begin fabricating gravlight panels of our own. Once we finish this advanced gravtech research, that is. This is needed urgently, as the Mechanoids have once again found us, and our grav core cannot currently support the massive size of the substructure that we've created. Thankfully, after a couple of days though, this advanced research was complete, and Sam was hard at work finishing all the gravlight panels that we needed. As these require vac-stone bricks to craft, I was also happy that I had saved a couple hundred in case we needed them later. And with enough gravlight panels, we would throw down yet another grav field extender, which came at just the right time I might add, as a couple days later the Mechanoids were once again arriving and had begun dropping in as we were ready to get headed back out. Now I must say that our strip mining operation was a massive failure. We managed to find no plasteel, and we also left behind a lot of food, but there's not much we can do about it now. We're off to the ancient reactor in search for yet another grav core. As we land down in this toxic wasteland, I will leave the episode here. Next time, we'll begin exploring the nearby facility, which I'm sure is probably guarded by more of those painful sentry drones, but that'll have to wait for next time. The one thing I want to mention before I say goodbye though is that I did end up abandoning the asteroid towards the end of the episode, and I'm sure you can tell why. This is really starting to lag the game, and it would take forever to clean all the Mechanoid corpses, even if we were able to destroy all of them, which I highly doubt we'd be able to take this many on. And with that sad news, I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.